Welcome to all, those who are here in the sanctuary and those who are virtual. We will prepare for a silent meditation. Let's begin. Breathing slowly and deeply, you settle into a comfortable position and turn within. You might close your eyes if that's comfortable. Your body relaxes as you allow thoughts and concerns to drift away gently. Your mind is still and clear as you focus on this intention. I am an expression of who God is. I am willing to show up and be known. I take risks to dare greatly. I am vulnerable, and I am courageous. Divine life dwells in my heart. Take these words into the quiet. As the meditation comes to an end, open your eyes if they've been closed. We are grateful that we are here together, and we give thanks to those who share themselves in service. Dr. Richard, Matthew, the musicians, and all those who volunteer today. Thank you.
surrounding me. Peace from me. By thy grace let there be peace. By thy grace let there be peace. By thy grace let there be peace within me. Peace surrounding me. Peace from me. By thy grace let there be peace. By thy grace let there be peace. By thy grace let there be peace. Peace within me. Peace surrounding me. Peace from me. By thy grace let there be peace. By thy grace let there be peace. By thy grace let there be peace.
We're going to start this morning with a variation of a Tonglen meditation, which means giving and receiving, and involves the willingness to receive the suffering and pain of others and provide relief, well-being, and peace. By breathing in distress, we can use the heart as a filter to transform negativity into acceptance, ease, joy, and light, bringing compassion to ourselves, our loved ones, and the world. I invite you to get as comfortable as you can, wherever you are, adjusting your body so that you can be as relaxed as possible. Breathe gently and easily, noting any sensations in your body and paying easy attention to your breath. On your next breath, see yourself as a majestic mountain, viewing all life with an elevated perspective. Breathe in again, and with an open heart, imagine you can see yourself sitting in front of you with any suffering or pain that you might be experiencing. Breathe in this negativity as if it is a dark cloud, and imagine your heart clearing the energy out and transforming it as you exhale a ray of golden light. Try this again, letting the aura of beautiful light surround your image. Feel your own warmth and tenderness towards yourself. Next, imagine someone you know who is struggling sitting in front of you. With your next in-breath, feel how open you can be towards this person's perspective. Perhaps you notice your strong desire to try to relieve this person of their difficulties. Breathe in this dark cloud and feel it entering your heart, where you dissolve it with your good intentions and breathe out shiny and glorious rays of light. Now, see if you can imagine a person or group of people who you don't know, but you imagine might be suffering. See them sitting in front of you. Imagine that you are breathing in their distress and pain, taking it away from them. As you hold the suffering, do not push it away or resist it. Acknowledge it. And then, using the compassion in your heart, transform this energy into relief and comfort. As you exhale, see this new energy leaving you in rays of beautiful light, surrounding those you imagined in front of you. Say to them, may you be safe. May you be free. May you be at peace. May you be happy. See how their faces are transformed by this new energy. Finally, take a couple of gentle breaths to return to your own body and surroundings. Know that this compassionate meditation has the power to cultivate empathy, compassion, and the understanding of the interconnectedness with all beings. And so it is.
I used to feel so lost and alone in a world that felt so cold. But then I found a place to call my own, and now I feel like I belong. I am loved and I am welcomed in this place that feels like my home. I am free to be myself and love who I am, and I never have to feel alone. To hide behind a mask, afraid to show the real me. But now I know that I am more than enough, and I can be who I want to be. I am loved and I am welcomed in this place that feels like my home. I am free to be myself and love who I am, and I never have to feel alone. It's amazing what love can do. It can heal the broken parts of you. And when you find that place to belong, you'll know that you were loved all along. I am loved and I am welcome in this place that feels like my home. I am free to be myself and love who I am, and I never have to feel alone. So if you're feeling lost and alone, just know that you're not on your own. There's a place where you can belong, and you'll be loved all along. Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. Look around you. You look great today. All right, if you will stand as you are able and greet one another. Maybe learn a few names while you're at it. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. All right.
Stop all that hugging. That's enough. Just kidding. Just kidding. Bring it on. Well, hello, everyone. You certainly are bringing a lot of sunshine to this kind of cloudy day. Welcome to Unity in Lynnwood. My name is Elizabeth Nachman, and I am here to ensure that each and every one of you not only feels welcome, whether you're here in our sanctuary or online, but can extend that welcome to those around you. We open our arms to all who join us, regardless of the facts and figures or visible signs of your life, for example, age, race, sexual orientation, your dog's Halloween costume, your Spotify playlist, your secret love of pork rinds, I'll never tell, or your extensive owl figurine collection. You're all welcome here. So yesterday, I asked my beloved, is it possible to love someone without liking them? Present company excluded. Well, love you, babe. But for anyone who has ever been a parent to a toddler or a teen, you know the answer is a resounding yes, right? Well, it occurred to me that liking is really kind of an ego thing, whereas loving is really a heart thing that you can practice. And if you're anything like me, the last few weeks have been pretty difficult emotionally, given everything that's been going on in the world. And so how do we respond to the global crisis before us? What do I do with all these feelings? What can I do to help? Well, I have some tips, and some of them involve unity practices. Number one is the most important. Recognize the feeling in your body. You know when you walk around, you feel like something's a little bit off, but you don't acknowledge it, and so maybe you're just a little cranky and short with like everyone around you? Yeah. Not me, ever. Well, sit down and ask yourself, what am I feeling? And then wait for the answer. Listen to your body. Let's just say, for example, that the word that comes up is despair. Well, number two is to acknowledge that feeling and let yourself experience it. Do not push it away. Do not encourage it. Simply notice it. Notice what it's like to have that feeling. For example, Despair makes my body feel so heavy, and I sense an aching in my heart. Give yourself some time to sit with that feeling. Number 3, notice when the feeling starts to dissipate, because it will. And at this point, you now have some options. Ask yourself where the emotion comes from. For example, the despair hits me when I think of children suffering somewhere. Special bonus tip here. It should be noted that it might be a good practice to avoid certain news sources and social media during times like this. I'm not suggesting that you stick your head in the sand, but don't obsess and go down the rabbit hole of seeking out all the bad news and images that you can. Just not a good idea. At this point, you might ask yourself, is there something that I can? Is there something that I want to do? Perhaps it's sending money or volunteering with an organization to help. Okay, finally, we arrive at number 4. We need to change the response to these dire circumstances in our immediate world. Instead of obsessing about how bad it is, consciously decide to do something in your world that has a positive impact on those around you. It might help to remember that, in fact, crisis precedes all transformation. And we have to start that transformation within ourselves. We can be the change agents, just the way Jesus was a change agent. Unity invites us with its 5th principle to affect change by being the change we want to see. And we need to start with our individual healing. So don't discount helping yourself first. As Marianne Williamson said, the practice of forgiveness is our most important contribution in the healing of the world. So finally, if you want to do something to help what's going on, figure out how to forgive yourself, a loved one, a stranger, or even someone more challenging. We can open our hearts and stand to help our world with our love. Thanks.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Dreamt I was born a child, living alone in the wild, passing the hours away. I looked into the face of sorrow, tempted by the taste of tomorrow and the scent of yesterday. But that was only a dream of a dream. This world is not what it seems. We are the wind that carries the seeds. We are the roots of the banyan tree. We are love offered on the wing that stretches across eternity. We are recording life's symphony. We are the silent awakening. I dreamt that I could not find you, always was a step behind you, could not see your face. Wandering around the maze of illusions, dusty haze, a soul with no resting place. But that was only a dream of a dream. This world is not what it seems. We are the wind that carries the seeds. We are the roots of the banyan tree. We are love offered on the wing that stretches across eternity. We are recording life's symphony. We are the silent awakening. And only love can lift the veil away. And only love can take its place. traveled long and far just to come home to your grace. That was only a dream of a dream. This world is not what it seems. We are the wind that carries the seeds. We are the roots of the banyan tree. We are love offered on the wing that stretches across eternity. We are a chord in life's symphony. We are the silent awakening. That was only a dream of a dream. This world is not what it seems. We are the wind that carries the seeds. We are the roots of the banyan tree. We are love offered on the wing that stretches across eternity. We are a chord in life's symphony. We are the silent awakening.
All right, yeah. Thanks so much.
Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. It is the joy of my week. It is indeed the honor of an incarnation to stand before you serving in the capacity of the senior minister of this divine idea of oneness and possibility, which we share and cherish. There are many noble souls in the house today. I count you to be among them. But I would also extend a special welcome to Deb Van Walsen in town from New Jersey. Oh my goodness. I extend a special welcome to Nelia Fajardo in town from Florida. And let's see. Reverend Nina Clark, welcome home. I asked Reverend Nina Clark, I said, do you want to work this morning? She said, no, thank you. I do not desire to work this morning. If you're a member of our virtual audience, we ask that you identify yourself by first name. Let us know your geography of origin, that our social media host, Callee, might welcome you, that we might welcome you, that you might, oh my goodness, that you might welcome one another. The first list is too long for me to read, spanning from Florida to Oregon, New Mexico, Edmonds, Washington, to Nairobi, to Issaquah. If you are a member of our physical sanctuary this morning and you desire to join me in issuing that Unity in Lynnwood brand of welcome, turn please toward this camera, generously facilitated by Fran Curley, and speak after me. We see you. We see a noble truth of you. We see a grand possibility for you. We see the highest truth of you. Welcome this morning. Our mission statement is short. It is comprised of 4 words that read, practical spirituality, welcoming community. And so it is that every week I support this with one of these 6 supporting statements we devised together in conversation with each other, in conversation with our board of trustees. Today I offer the 6th of 6, and it reads as follows: we welcome people. And we could end right there, couldn't we? We welcome people from all spiritual traditions or from no spiritual tradition whatsoever into every activity of our community. Is that me? Yeah, that's you. Words of invocation, then. Take them in the manner best suited to you today. You are welcome to close your eyes, to have the sense that they are doing you, or you're welcome to read aloud, whether prayerfully or exuberantly, as we begin, though imaged and named variously. There is a singular and eternal ground of being from which all life emanates and into which all life retreats. We choose to call this ground of being God. By extension, we come to understand that we are spiritual in nature, human in expression, and limitless in potential. We gather today to remember such truths, to celebrate our unity, and to honor all life. If you would like to continue doing prayer work this morning, we offer a bevy of trained prayer chaplains who are eager to support you. You may engage the individual of your choosing following our time together, that you might anticipate a face and a general geography in this room. May I ask those prayer chaplains in service to us today to please wave or stand. If you desire to pray this morning, come to this side of the room. Always, if you're a member of our virtual sanctuary, start the process by writing prayer at unityinlynnwood.org. Include a working telephone number and expect a telephone call within a couple hours. I welcome you this morning to week 2 of the fall series at Unity in Lynnwood. It's drawn from the work of Brene Brown, Daring Greatly, How the Courage to be vulnerable transforms the way we live, love, parent, and lead. Yay! Vulnerability. If you're just joining us and you want to play some catch up, check out October 1st and October 15th on YouTube or Facebook. We are Unity in Lynnwood on all social media platforms. You're welcome to join us for any or all of the drop-in, drop-out groups. They are detailed on your screen, whether in our physical sanctuary or in our virtual sanctuary. The study guide for this series is available at the Welcome and Information Station and online by visiting the printables page at unityinlynnwood.org. And whether you choose to read along or not, our deepest hope is that you find value in our conversation. Now, the series will conclude on Thanksgiving Eve, 7:00 p.m. That's an invitation, to be clear. The series will conclude on Thanksgiving Eve, where you and I will enjoy delicious homemade pies generously provided by you. Yummy, yummy. Always, you are welcome into any or all. Recent decades or more have left us believing that we are strong when we refuse to see another point of view, when we refuse to change our minds, when we deny our emotional truths, when we put on the brave face, when we play it safe, when we hold a little something back, when we diminish or demean those who just don't get us, when we pretend to have all the answers even if we don't, when we refuse to ask for help. Do not raise your hands, please. This paradigm can be likened to that family trip to dinner at Aunt so-and-so's house. Dad behind the wheel of that old Chevy, the youngest kid asleep in the back window. What were we thinking? What were we thinking? The meringue has melted, the sun has set. Acre after acre after acre of farmland continues to pass the windows. Everyone groans in response to any sentence that begins, "I spy with my little eye." Everyone knows Dad is lost. Dad knows Dad is lost. But will Dad stop and ask for directions? Absolutely not. And to this day, we hear him remembered with words akin to, "Oh, he was such a strong man." I just look at Dad out there in the middle of the night with a bunch of screaming, hungry children. The littlest one in the back window next to the lawn darts. What were we thinking? The last drops of gasoline sputtering through the carburetor on what can only be described as an eternal trip through absolutely nowhere to absolutely nothing. What a man. What a man. What a man. Recent decades or more have perpetuated this paradigm, and yet when we open the pages of our Websters, as if you still have a Webster's with actual pages, when we open the pages of our Websters, we don't find Dad's, and I quote, inability to withstand harm. We don't find that under the word strength. We find Dad's inability to withstand harm under the word weakness. Now, this is not to suggest that Dad wasn't a good guy. It is simply to acknowledge that I do not remember Ward ever apologizing to June, and maybe, just maybe, there's a little something we have to learn from that. Recent decades would have us celebrate Dad's inability not only to admit his unknowing, but to request help from some unkempt teenager at a roadside gas station. Said more clearly, decades would have us celebrate Dad's inability to withstand harm to his own ingrained concept of what a man and a father were supposed to be as strength. While recent decades have left us with this idea that vulnerability is a weakness to be avoided, our author suggests that vulnerability exists at the center of all meaningful human experiences. Vulnerability exists at the center of all meaningful human experiences. How are we doing so far? This strikes me as being wonderfully true. Wonderfully true. In our movement, in movements such as ours, I would suggest unity to be something of a panentheistic tradition. Now, opposed to a theistic tradition in which a separate and distant, usually male deity oversees earthly life in something of an unpredictable and inconsistent manner, a panentheistic tradition would suggest that whatever that ground of all being is, it necessarily exists in all expressed form. A panentheistic tradition then tends to trade a separate and distant concept of God for an immanent and universal concept of God. We lose a God as human in the sky, but we gain God as a presence in the heart. So if unity's core idea, if its first tenet suggests that God is simply the name we assign to that singular and eternal ground of all being, to that creative impetus behind all life, unity's second tenet simply suggests that you are necessarily of it. You are of it, for it can be no other way. We lose the bankrupt paradigm in which to be born is somehow misconstrued into having to earn our way back into the favor of some moody man God. And we gain the affirming paradigm in which to be born is simply a bold lending of self to the grand adventure of multiplicity that is a human incarnation. To be born is a bold lending of self to beginnings and endings. I mean, earthly life is a rather thick level of reality in which we come together that we might ultimately come apart. And this is not some fatalistic pessimism. This is an acknowledgement of the courageous nature of your soul. I have to believe that Tennyson was agreeing when he penned the famous words, "'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved before." Or maybe you'll relate more to the characters from Fiddler on the Roof. Is this the little girl I carried? Is this the little boy at play? I don't remember growing older. When did they sun rise, sun set, beginnings and endings? This is why I don't arbitrarily hold divorce as something of a spiritual failure. I have to believe that all relationships serve something of a spiritual purpose for the souls involved. So if the spiritual purposes have been realized through the form which we call marriage, perhaps it's appropriate that we allow the form of the relationship to change. Our Eastern family members get this more easily than we. We are not the owners of our earthly relationships. We are at best the honorary caretakers of our spouses, of our parents, our friends, our colleagues, our siblings, even our children. We are the honorary caretakers of the souls seated before us in this very room. We're the honorary caretakers of the souls seated behind us in this very room. You are the honorary caretaker of the soul who is seated to your right. The honorary caretaker of the soul seated to your left. To be born is a bold lending of self to highs and lows as well. Earthly life is a rather thick level of reality in which comparison and contrast are quite simply baked into the cake, as we once said in the Midwest. Would you recognize accomplishment if you could never know struggle? Would you recognize beauty if you could never know ugly? I might suggest that for many, their unity is about mind over matter. Jesus becomes a central avatar inasmuch as his virgin birth and his healings, his miracles, all culminating with the physical resuscitation of his body, point to the paradigm of mind over matter. The post-Easter Jesus is usually their guy. And for still others, their unity is about the oneness of creation, which naturally becomes a teaching about life's intrinsic worth and enduring value. If these really are unity camps, I have to tell you, I belong to this one. Jesus becomes the walking, talking, itinerant healer, social agitator guy, credited with a prayer formula that began our Father. Father being one common metaphor for ultimate reality, and our being his affirmation of its availability to all people. His prayer, of course, went on to affirm the possibility of a kingdom, not floating in the skies, but a kingdom to be shared among human beings walking on the earth. I like this guy. And for still others, their unity is about manifestation, our undeniable capacity to draw ourselves to stuff and things is compelling. And so the spiritual path becomes one of manifestation or demonstration or ultimately control of the outer world. Get the result you want, and you've done life right. Miss the result you want, and you've done life wrong. This is one sad result of this paradigm carried to its extreme. Another sad result is the spiritual sanction of rampant materialism. The one who dies with the most toys wins, and this has merely been dressed up in fancy new clothes. The Unity co-founders cautioned against this paradigm. In his text, Prosperity, it was Charles Fillmore who wrote, "Anything less than today's need is not enough, but anything more than today's need is too much." He cautioned against rampant materialism. Point being, in this paradigm, we're tempted to seek accomplishment without knowing struggle. We're tempted to seek beauty without knowing ugly. We want the light without ever knowing shadow. This suggestion of comparison and contrast being baked into the cake of a human incarnation challenges this paradigm. Our spiritual work becomes less about clamoring toward all pleasure and repelling from all pain, and more about becoming containers so broad and so deep that we're able to hold the full palette of any incarnation with equal grace. We do highs and lows with an unwavering beauty of spirit. I can know pleasure and still know that it doesn't define me. I can know pain and still know that it doesn't define me. In any moment, I can experience the full palette of incarnate life and say, I am more than this. I am more than this. Hold an idea of a circumstance in your mind. Just bring it to mind. Positive, negative, label it how you will. Hold it 5 seconds and become willing to say, I am more than this. Together, I am more than this. I am more than this. So you might think you're here today to decide whether or not you're ready to be vulnerable. But I would suggest that you wouldn't be here wearing that suit of skin while hurtling through space on a blue-green marble brimming with boiling stuff if you hadn't already decided. Said another way, to imagine yourself beyond the reach of vulnerability, or to try to get beyond the reach of vulnerability, is to deny the very essence of what it means to be you. So Brené Brown suggests that something of vulnerability exists at the center of all meaningful human experiences. I also think this means that if you are ready to step into a more meaningful experience, vulnerability will be one of the requirements. You'll have to become willing to, returning to Webster's words, you'll have to become willing to withstand harm for what you believe, for what it is that you want, for what you perceive. If you're ready to step into a more meaningful experience, you will have to become willing to, Webster's words, withstand harm from that self who fears your failure, and from the society who fears your change alike. You'll have to become willing to withstand harm from the family who keeps score, and from the expert who keeps statistics alike. You'll have to become willing to withstand harm from the endless clamor of voices on the sidelines whose fear keeps them from standing in the arena with you. If you're ready to step into a more meaningful experience, whether that for you is a love journey or a career journey, a creativity journey, values journey, or something else, you'll have to become willing to be vulnerable, not because growth requires weakness, but because growth requires great strength. So if you find yourself feeling beyond the reach of vulnerability, well, I say enjoy it. Have a nice time for as long as it lasts. Have a good time. But if you find yourself in the throes of vulnerability, maybe it's because you're finally making your way into the arena of your own life in a new way. Maybe you celebrate it then. If you find yourself in the throes of vulnerability, maybe you celebrate it as a sign that you finally accepted a grander possibility for yourself as unfolding soul. If you find yourself in the throes of vulnerability, perhaps our response is one of gratitude. Take a deep breath with me. Let us close the outer eyes. Let us close the outer eyes and give ideas room to dance. The The mind is undoubtedly doing what the mind is designed to do. So let us give it a job today. Let us ask the mind to follow the breath. The breath as it enters, a breath as it leaves, continuing to bring the mind back to its task. Perhaps allowing that breath to deepen, to slow. Perhaps having the sensation that the breath is active beyond the torso. Perhaps having the sensation that we are held in breath. If you're like me, we might experience the sensation of slowing, of softening, relaxing. The temples, the jaws, the shoulders, fingers, toes. Giving ourselves this moment of peace. In a place of love, a place of safety. And if we would give the mind another job this morning, let us simply consider vulnerability is strength. We need not succumb to the temptation to engineer around this idea or to reject it, to accept it, to embrace it, to repel. We can merely remain observers. Vulnerability is strength. Allow this idea to meander through the circumstances of our lives, through the longings of our hearts. Vulnerability is strength. Perhaps for any wisdom that seems to have arisen. Maybe for any comfort that has been gleaned, for any hope that has been enlivened, we allow gratitude to be our response. We allow gratitude to rise within us. We hold that gratitude for a moment, knowing it to be a powerful and causative consciousness. We make the agreement then as we come to the end of our time together, we make the decision that this consciousness will not be abandoned with the opening of the sensory eyes, but it will be perpetuated. It will be carried as a fragrance to permeate my path. And we close this time of deeper consideration together, as we always do, simply by saying, and so it is, together, and so it is, and so it is, and one last time, and so it is.
Thank you, Dr. Richard. Lots to think about. Well, now's the time that we like to give you the opportunity to give back to this extraordinary community. In one of my classes this week, I was given the assignment to respond to a prompt from the Bible, from Acts 20, which reads simply, I'm sure you're familiar with it, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Well, yeah, okay, the abstract, that's true. But in our unity world, really, it's important to recognize that this is a flow. Prosperity is a flow. And we must be able to receive graciously in order to be able to give wholeheartedly. So think about it. When someone gives something to you, what's your first response? Typically, I just want to give back. So that's what we encourage here today. So electronic giving options are appearing on the screen for those who are choosing to give a physical gift. The ushers, thank you, will gratefully pass baskets. And if you would like more information about UIL's programs of regular giving or planned giving or legacy giving, please grab a Giver's Circle brochure or write Dr. Richard directly. And for those already participating, thank you so much. Please join me in our affirmation as it appears on the screen. I give freely and fearlessly, fulfilling the law of giving and receiving.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
I have a fear I'll come back to the microphone and I'll still be singing, and that could be scary. Anyway, I do have some announcements, but before we get to those, we like to take this moment to give a special welcome to anyone who might be new or newer today. If you might give us a little wave. If you're new or newer. Oh, that's a little wave, but we'll give you a big round of applause anyway. Welcome, welcome. So if you are new or newer, there are lots of resources for you today. In the chair back in front of you, there are a bunch of little cards, some of which I would mention. The Stay in Touch card, if you fill that out, give us your information. You'll get about 2 emails a month about what's going on here, and they really are great and interesting and fun. Thank you, Matthew. Feel free, if you are newer, or even if you're not, to stop by the Welcome and Information Station after service. I will be there to answer any questions you might have. Be prepared. Also, if you're newer, you can stop by and pick up a complimentary copy of the Daily Word. You can also get that in the Soul Things gift shop. All you have to do is ask. So there you go. I think Marion's in Italy, so I don't know who's there this morning, but yeah, very cool. So some invitations. Please register for all events by visiting the calendar page, www.unityinlynnwood.org. And reminder, if you have a compliment or comment, please write "We Listen" at unityinlynnwood.org. We're here for you. As a reminder, and Dr. Richard mentioned this, Daring Greatly opt-in, opt-out groups are happening Sundays following services, Mondays at 9 a.m., and Wednesdays at noon. And if you're participating virtually, we just ask that you register online. Also, you can see the offerings of Unity in Lynnwood's small group ministry as they appear on the screen, some good favorites and some new things as well. Also, a reminder that the first Sunday of each month is Newcomer Sunday. Newcomers are invited to a potluck lunch immediately following service, and of course, all are welcome. And the next one in November, Unity in Lynnwood's Indigenous Heritage Committee invites you on a field trip to the High Bulb Cultural Center on the Tulalip Reservation in Marysville on Sunday, November 5th at 1:30 p.m. From the 50-acre Natural History Preserve, galleries of art and artifacts, a replica longhouse, and a gift shop, be inspired by the reverent ways of caring for Mother Earth by some who lived here 8,000 to 10,000 years before European settlers. For fun, we encourage people to consider bringing a dish that reflects our local indigenous traditions to the newcomers' potluck and carpool from here. The cost for a ticket will be $6 per person. That's what I got.
The next women's group meeting is on the 4th at 9:30 a.m. All are welcome as this group continues to reinvent itself and to vision for its highest manifestation in the future. All are welcome. I also would like to announce that the Tao in Time, the Taoist study group, is becoming an ongoing group as the launch of Interfaith at Unity in Lynnwood. Phil Patzer is your contact for that. That is Thursday evenings at 7:30 p.m. So I'm not saying that that we have to suffer in order to know pleasure. What I'm saying is that ultimate reality is often realized within the context of circumstantial reality. You know, we often remember the expansiveness of soul within the context of a human incarnation, for example. We often experience a relative truth within the context of an enduring truth. Oh, that is just, what is he saying to me today? What is he saying to me? Take a deep breath. Let's close as we began with that discipline we call prayer. It matters not what we call it. Let's agree that it is a work in consciousness. Let's agree with that, and that it matters not what we call it. Let us agree or consider even that there is at the very core of us something. Let's agree that there is at the very core of us something that is indeed having its way as us, and that its nature has been intuited by seers and avatars and sages throughout the millennia as life having its way as me, love having its way as me, a sufficiency to all authentic works of soul having its way as me. There is at the very center of me wisdom having its way as me. Let's consider that. And so yet again, relinquishing that egoic need to push, to force, to coerce, to make happen, to engineer, we bring back to the world a people of receptivity, a people of welcome to that which is having its way as us. Our eyes then become eyes of wonder. Our hearts become hearts of eager anticipation. If you're like me, maybe your faith is bolstered, your hope is renewed. And you have a renewed sense of freedom and possibility. That which is at the core of me, having its way as me today, is enough. What good news. And we close as we always do with sung words of blessing, sung words of farewell.
May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on.
So I got a last minute yes from the deck of the starship up there, a final yes that allows you to join in the grand celebration of Unity in Lynnwood's senior most staff member and the cherished partner who now can be known as his fiancée. Cameron and Amelia, congratulations. Oh my gosh. Finally, she says. Oh, that looks like a yes to me. That looked like a yes. I don't know. That's my intuition talking. We closed last week with an affirmation. It is central to Brene Brown's work, and it goes as something like this. If I'm here, together. If I'm here, I am worthy.
I am worthy.
And I belong. Learn 2 new names on your way across the hall. I love my time with you. I close with gratitude. Have a great week.